This is Danny with QuadLugs, and we're building the box quad. You'll need a drill, wire cutters, needle nose maybe, 1/8 inch bit, drill bit, 1/16 inch drill bit, and a Phillips screwdriver, Phillips head screwdriver, and I think this is a number 1. On this particular box quad kit, it's furnished with the electronics. So let's take a quick look. KK board, the control board, props, 2 clockwise, 2 counterclockwise, 845s. We have the Emax 4-in-1 25 amp ESC. We have, of course, the box quad kit itself, frame kit, and we have 2212 1400 kV Sunny Sky motors in this particular kit. So let's go ahead and get started with the frame. You have one box blank, so you can use either one. You have one with our logo, so you can use either one for your body. If you have a problem and crash up one body, you still have another one that you can use, so you'll have a spare. If it's blank, you can put, you know, whatever you want on it. I draw faces on it and stuff like that sometimes. But anyway, today we're going to go ahead and build the one with the logo. So let's take a look at what's inside. We have some stickers. This is the wiring that's is for the electronics. We have 2 packages of the motor arm lugs. We just started laser cutting all the holes in the boxes, so you no longer have to cut them yourself. Makes it a little bit easier, a little bit faster. And the other box, depending on which color you got, this particular one is red. You'll have the motor mount lugs, the feet, and you'll have the crossover wood. This is 1/4 inch by 1/2 inch, 7 inches long. And you'll have 3 landing gear, 1/2 by 1/2, and it's 3 inches long. 2 of the body, and it's 1/2 by 1/2 by 5 1/4 inches long, and 4 motor arms, which are 1/2 by 1/2, and they're 5 inches long. All the wood that we use is basswood. So any replacement wood that you need, if you have an accident with it, can be gotten at a local hobby shop and your local craft store. Also in this box we have the zip ties and some Velcro and some sticky squares, and that's going to our double-sided tape squares, and that's going to be for mounting some of our controls also. So to get started with the body, we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of prep work. These are your motor arm lugs, and what's unique about this, in the future, if you build more quad lugs, these are used in different ways as far as setting your motor arm angles, which is very unique to quad lugs. And so this is the top adjustment head, and it moves and locks into place. So let's go ahead and prep this. We're going to need an 1/8 inch bit. There's a hole in this area right here that needs to be drilled, and the way we're going to do that is use the top piece, and you'll see that this can be used as a drill bit, or a drill guide rather, I'm sorry. We're going to place that on top, and then the bit's going to fit through as such. And what you'll wind up doing is drilling right in this area right here. So just hold the top on firmly, put your bit in, and just, you don't have to press really hard, just a little bit of pressure and it'll go right on through, and there you go. If you take a look at the bottom, you'll see where it came through there, and that's where the nut's going to wind up being to hold this all together. So let's go ahead and take that off. And what we're going to do is pick out the residue that's in there. We'll clean that up. So you can take your 1/16 inch bit and just push it through and make sure that's out. So the first one's prepped. Let's go ahead and do that to the other four, or the three rather. There's another hole that we're going to prep on the arm, and that's this one here. And this, we're just going to drill it straight through. Now this is going to be a 1/16 inch bit, and you can just hold it upside down like this, and we'll drill it straight. Now you try to keep your drill straight this way and that way the best you can. If it's off a little bit, it doesn't hurt anything at all. And again, we'll get the residue out. All four, we'll put that aside and kind of clean up a little bit of the mess. Now we do have one more hole, and this is 1/8 inch, and this is going to be to mount our landing gear. And we'll bring it up from here, from here around 3/8 of an inch, and then in the middle of this area here. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. If it's off a little, doesn't matter at all. Okay. And again, on this piece, if you want the screws, all facing one direction, I think for orientation, it's really nice to do it like this. And that way you can't really go wrong. So, again, this is going to be where our landing gear are going to go in. So again, we'll go 3/8 of an inch up approximately, and we'll go in the middle this way. So let's go ahead and get the others done. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and prep our feet, and we're also going to prep the motor arm legs. Now we're going to go back to the 1/8 inch bit. On the feet, this one hole is furnished on the same side of all of them. So if you want the screws to be facing the same way, all toward the front or all toward the inside, you'll have to drill another hole to achieve that. So you can drill another hole on all of them, so they're, they have 2 holes on either side, or just do one on one side and use the other on the other. When you have this in your hand, you'll see there's a circle here, and I think this is used to push the part out of the mold. If you drill approximately in the center of that, It's a perfect place. It's easy to do, or you know, for reference, and it lines up with this hole. So just put it approximately in the center. Very little pressure again, and it'll go right through. So we just need to do 2 of them that way, unless we're gonna, you know, unless you want, you know, 2 holes on each piece. There we go. On the motor mount lugs, there's a couple of ways you can screw these on. You can go through the side or through, this is going to wind up being the bottom, and this is going to be on the top, rather, where the motor is going to mount. I normally put it in the bottom. Again, we have that circle, and there's an identifier right in the middle. So if you put your bit approximately, again, if it's off a little bit, doesn't matter. And we're almost done with the prep. Okay, that is it for the prep. That our prep is pretty much done, we're gonna go ahead and start putting it together. So we're gonna use this box. So we're gonna open it up. These are the 7-inch long 1/4 by 1/2, and they're crossover wood. They're gonna fit in there. Now everything that we do on the QuadLugs, and when we go to assemble it, when we're putting wood into these joints, we want to make sure that they're all the way in, because it's measured out, you know, for that. So just push down on it, make sure it's all the way in. Again, orientation toward the front, and we're going to do screw hole toward the back. Again, we're going to push it all the way in. Now, depending on where you're at, the wood can shrink and swell a little bit depending on humidity. And also when it's milled, this wood, you know, obviously is cut down to these sizes, and that can vary some. If you have a little problem putting the wood in, sliding it in, some of it's going to fit very, very tight. Some of it's going to be just a little bit loose. Doesn't hurt anything at all. But if it's really tight and it's hard to get in, you can sand the area that slides in. You know, it's usually about 7/8 of an inch. You can sand it a little bit, and you know, it'll help it to go in. You know, sand one side and then the other. Normally, it's not needed, but if it's unmanageable and it's not wanting to go all the way in, you can definitely do that. So we have this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get our 3/8 screws, and all the screws are number 4s. All the wood screws are number 4s, and we use 3/8 and 5/8. So on the 3/8, we're going to go ahead and put these 2 in, and that way that side will be done. So we're going to use a 1/16 inch bit, and you're only going through the wood just to keep it from splitting. So, you know, we're only going about 1/4 inch deep, and you're using the hole that you just drilled a while ago when you were prepping the arms. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and we're screwing through the hole that you just prepped on the motor arm. I normally use the screwdriver and not the drill for this, because this is being screwed through the glass reinforced nylon piece here, and it is very, very tough, so it's usually easier to do it this way. And we'll go ahead and do this one. Okay, we're going to take the 5 1/4 inch piece now, and we're going to make sure that the screws on the outside, if that's the way you choose to do it. And we'll make sure that this one's on the outside. And we'll push this down. There we go. We're going to go ahead and slide them in. And we're going to push them through the opening. And on this side, you just want to make sure you're in. There you go. And you may have to use your finger and push this back. It's a snug fit. It's not crazy tight, but it's snug. We're going to take the other arm and the other 5 1/4 inch piece. Again, making sure the screw hole's on the outside. And there we go there. Then we're going to go ahead and put it over the wood. A 1/4 by 1/2 wood there. And let's get this one. There we go. Let's make sure the arm is pushed in. There we go. And we'll line these two up. And we'll push them in. Okay. And then we'll make sure that the box is pushed in with our finger. There you go. And you can see now, it looks really nice there. Okay. So everything looks good. The box is put together nice. All the holes are lining up. Everything's looking good. Now, one thing you want to check is that this area right here, you can see this gap should be about the same all the way up and down. Same here. If it's pushed in too much, you know, and you have this, you know, angled out, you don't want that. But normally, when you push them together, it looks pretty good. Just double check that. The other thing you want to double check is that the arms are flush on either side. This one looks good. That one looks good. That one's kind of too far that way. And you can tell it right there. So just push it in. Oop. There we go. And now they're nice and flush. And the arms are straight this way and this way. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and put this screw in on either side, just like we did this. And we're using the 1/16 inch hole that you prepped earlier. Okay. And when we do this, this is going to tie the two arms together. There we go. And we're using the 3/8 inch long screws again. Okay, now we'll start working on our motor arms. These are the 5-inch long pieces. We're going to go ahead and put them through like that. We're going to go ahead and use the 1/16 inch bit. We're going to drill a pilot hole in each one. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and use our Phillips screw driver on our drill. You can do it by hand, no problem at all. And we're going to go ahead and use our 5/8 long screws, and we're going to go ahead and put these in. We're going to go ahead and do our feet. Again, make sure they're pushed all the way down. Make sure the wood is pushed all the way up in. Good way to double check is to go ahead and hold them end to end, and if they're matching, looks good. And it's looking good. Again, we want to find the ones that we drilled on the opposite side if you want all the screws on one side. And that's how it's going to go. So let's go ahead and drill our pilot holes with the 1/16 inch bit, and once more we'll make sure that all the pieces are pushed in all the way. And once again, we'll get 5/8 inch long screws. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and put our motor arms on, and you can see the teeth there and here, and you know that's how they fit on. This is where the motor's going to tie in, so that's the top, so we want to put them on like this. Again, make sure that they're pushed all the way. And that one is. And again, we're going to get our 1/8 inch bit. We're going to hold this down. This is going to act again as a bit guide. This time we're going to be drilling through this wood and through this wood so we can attach this. Again, you want to make sure that this is pushed where you want it. And here it's smooth here, and it's smooth there. So we'll check that. We're going to put this down. Again, we're going to hold this down. And again, we use a little pressure. The bit guide will guide it through in the right area. We just went through the first layer wood. And there we are. So the bit guide is going to guide it through. Just a little bit of pressure and it'll go right on. So we're going to use the 1/16 inch bit, and we're going to clean the residue out. And I'm going to do the same thing here. I normally turn them over. This seems to work better. And we'll get it cleaned out. Now here we're going to be using these screws. and they come with a locking nut and a washer. So we can go ahead and put the washers on. We give you like double the screws on this over a period of time if you move the arms in different, to set them up in a different orientation to try it, see how it flies that way. These may wear out a little bit, so you have an extra set. And of course, if you need any more, you can go to your local hobby shop and get it, or you can go to our site and we carry it there. So here's our locking nut, and we're going to go ahead and put it in the receptor at the bottom. And it fits in. We'll hold it with our finger. This is the motor arm we drilled, and we want to make sure all the residue is out of here. You know, just make sure it's clean so it doesn't interfere with it locking. And we'll go ahead and put the screw through with the washer. And we're going to tighten it up just a little, or get it started rather. Then you can let go of the nut, it'll hold itself. And I normally use the front or the back as a reference point for the degrees that I'm setting it. So the arm is adjustable in 15-degree increments. So if you want to set this to 45 degree, your arm angle would be 15, 30, 45. So that's where we're going to go today. And we're going to tighten this. We're not locking it down good yet, but we're just going to tighten it up to keep it in check. So let's go ahead and do the next one. Again, motor arm up like this, and we're going to make sure it's all the way in. If you have to, use the table and push down. And we're going to do the same thing on this side, where again we're going to make sure this is smooth. It's where you want it. And we're going to go ahead and drill this one again with the 1/8 inch bit. Okay, now we're going to put the feet on, or the landing gear. Again, screws up front. You want to make sure they're put all the way in. Same in the back. the screws, face them out. And again, you want to make sure that the feet are pushed all the way in. And we're going to take the 1/16 inch bit again, and we're going to drill the pilot holes. You don't have to go all the way through the wood, just, you know, halfway is good enough. This is just to give you an easy way to start the screw and to keep it from splitting. And again, I'm holding this, but a good way to do it is just push down on the table. Works just as good. And we'll do this one that way. Works real good. Okay, we'll use our Phillips screw again, the screwdriver again on the drill. We're going to get our 5/8 inch long screws again. And we're going to put those in. I'm going to go ahead and do that for all 4 of these. Go. So we have our feet on, landing gear, we have our motor arms and our motor mounts. And again, we'll tighten these down after a while. And this is where we're going to mount our controller, battery mount. We'll do that on the electronics. And the motor wire is going to come out through the side. This completes your frame. So the next video is going to be the electronics, and we'll get that all installed and we'll be ready to go flying. Again, this is Danny with QuadLugs. Thanks a million.